welcome to Wellness Wednesday. Today we are going to be focusing predominantly on breathing practices. Now, before you turn off this video and decide, nope, I don't want to talk about breathing, just understand that what we kind of think about as breathing practices, most people focus on the deeper side of it, where you're having to take these really deep breaths and hold them in for a period of time and do the counting and the ratio breathing with it too. Or they may be thinking about belly breathing, where again, they're kind of expanding their belly and doing a lot of really kind of centered practice around how they're breathing. Deep breathing actually is a term that encompasses several types of non-resisted and paced breathing strategies. It comes in many different forms, and there's a lot of different ways that you can practice breathing exercises without having to go to that anxious, deeper breathing level that most people do find very uncomfortable about certain practices. So give it a try. I promise if you feel uncomfortable about any point in time, you can always stop and you can just go back to regular breathing. We will be utilizing our trauma-informed yoga card deck throughout today's practice, but focusing mostly just again on mountain pose. So while we're doing these practices, you can do it standing within mountain pose, you can do it sitting in chair mountain, or you don't have to do the mountain pose at all. And if you want to just sit back, get comfortable and relax, or even lay down while we're practicing these breathing exercises, it's completely up to you. So why is breathing important that we talk about when it comes to not just yoga, but when we talk about our general health and our mental health as well? Because the primary role of breathing is truly just to absorb oxygen and expel carbon dioxide. However, when a person is under stress, their breathing changes, causing them to usually take shallower or even smaller breaths, which does not allow for the proper balance of the gases in our body. So shallow breathing or hyperventilation can actually prolong the feelings of anxiety by making the physical symptoms worse. So daily breathing exercises or deep breathing exercises can actually lower resting blood pressure and reduce our stress and anxiety. Studies have also shown that daily breathing exercises while at work can actually increase productivity. It is also a reliable method for controlling panic attacks by countering that hyperventilation that occurs. Other improvements that we see from breathing exercises include reduced lactic acid buildup in the muscle tissue, balanced levels of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the blood, improved immune system functioning, increased physical energy, and also just the increased feelings of calm and our well-being. So let's imagine briefly that this balloon that I have in front of us is our lungs, and as we take that breath in, it's going to go ahead and fill up with air. Now, breathing practices is again more than just kind of that normal inhalation and exhalation. It's really kind of controlled breathing and having this kind of pace to it as well. So if you think about it, why is it important? Well, we already talked about how normal breathing is about the absorption of carbon dioxide in the expelling of carbon dioxide. So when we are not breathing regularly, we're not getting enough carbon dioxide out of our body and bringing in enough oxygen. So one of the reasons, again, like we talked about a second ago, it reduces lactic acid within the muscles is because as carbon dioxide continues to build up in our body, it has nowhere to go except for our muscles, which does cause that lactic acid buildup, and it causes a lot of that strain and tension that you may feel in your muscles. It's also what often gives us headaches when we're feeling under more stress or when we're in a situation where maybe our breathing has been changing because we're not expelling that basic poison out of our body. So deep breathing then takes the lungs, and instead of, my balloon's actually kind of already shrinking, but instead of just kind of releasing it all at once, it's giving you the opportunity to do it at a pace that works for you. So again, by slowing down how we are exhaling is the most important part of those breathing exercises, not just the breathing in, but how are we exhaling it. We don't want to release it all at once because we're not probably expelling all that carbon dioxide the way we should be. But by controlled release, like as I just slightly move my fingers apart and you see the balloon just slowly deflating, we are going to be able to get more of that nasty carbon dioxide out of our body. One of the things that we also have to think about is normally, just like with a balloon, if we let it go all at once, it just kind of takes off on us and it does us absolutely no good. So as I mentioned earlier, and some of you may experience in this, some people do find that concentrating on their breath actually promotes more panic and even hyperventilation because they get so just kind of caught up into the counting itself, or the feeling of the pressure as we're kind of taking that breath in and we're slowly releasing it out. To be honest, when you're not used to it, it does feel very pressured, and it can cause a little bit of pain within our lungs or even in our chest as we're really learning how to do that. So if this happens to you, you may want to look for another way, like another technique to do breathing exercises, or just something else that's calming. But some people find it helpful to use tools to help them with their breathing. So I have a few examples here. One that we see kind of becoming more and more popular is just kind of this little metal tube. You'll find them usually on like a necklace string or something like that. And again, it's just kind of forcing people to slow down their exhalation. So they would just go ahead and breathe, take a normal breath in, or a deeper breath if they choose to, and then breathe slowly out through the tube, so that it again is just kind of allowing them to take that slower, nice exhalation and expel that carbon dioxide. If you don't want to spend the money to get something like this, you can easily just take a straw and cut it in half, and you're good to go as well. If you want to do a little bit more, because breathing exercises actually help to build up our lungs and give us a little bit more strength within our lungs, you can even just take a little coffee stirrer and go ahead and cut that in half and use that as well. There are also other sensory tools that could be really helpful. Sometimes it could be just as simple as adding in a smell to our breathing. So using just your normal everyday lotion, if it has a scent to it, and going ahead and rubbing it on your hands and then bringing your hands up to your face. And as you take that deep breath in, getting that nice, good, clean smell with it too. For some people, it may be a more relaxing scent like lavender. I actually really like citrus scents like lemon and grapefruit. One, it not only just smells really good and clean, but when I'm taking deep breaths, not only is it just helping me relax, I usually need a little bit of a wake up. So having that citrus scent gives me a little bit more of that invigorating scent to it too. Or you can do something a little bit more where you might have like a certain spray that you use, like a room spray. I wouldn't recommend, spraying around like a normal aerosol, because then you're going to be breathing in some of those chemicals as well. But, if you have something along the lines like a smudge spray, or even some of these that I actually sell within my store where they are set by intention. So you can do kind of the breathing activities based off the intention you want to do. Like this one is for balancing. And it also has the cleansing benefits of a smudge spray. Or if you want to, you can use an incense, whatever it may be for that. For some people, it may just be lighting their favorite candle. It might even be just, if they have plants in the room, going up and smelling the plants, which is also helpful for the plants too, because as you're doing that slow exhale, you're feeding your plants the carbon dioxide, which they really want, and we don't. Then there are also these kind of amazing things too. I love these. I always buy them in bulk, and I give them away to my clients, and I also give them away to staff every now and then too. But these are what are known as calm strips, and the company is known as Calm Strips as well. And they have a variety of different tools that are used for sensory and relaxation. These particular ones are focused on breathing. I tend to focus on the ones about breathing and also grounding. And there are different activities that you can do while you're breathing. So again, with that sensory experience, you're getting this nice, pretty little picture to kind of look at, but you also just kind of trace your finger along the pattern just as it shows on here. Like as you can see here, it talks about when to exhale and hold and then exhale. But one of the other things about calm strips is they have different textures on each of the stickers. So as you're doing it, you're getting an additional sensory of touch. So the calming of the picture, the touch, but also being able to just kind of get a little bit of movement in there too. So you're not so much just focused on just how the breath feels, but getting other sensory exploration that can be very calming. So just as an example, this is actually box breathing. It's one actually of the breathing poses that are in our trauma-informed yoga book. And box breathing can be done just as simply as drawing a square as you're breathing. But again, it's the idea as you draw across the top, you inhale, you hold, and you exhale, and then you hold again. Now, typical box breathing is that you would inhale, hold, exhale, hold, and the same rate. So if you inhale for 3, you hold for 3, and so on and so forth. I particularly like doing that at a different ratio, again, because you want to have more of an exhale than an inhale, again, to expel out all that carbon dioxide. So I might inhale for 3, hold for 3, but exhale for 4 or 5, and then hold, allow my breathing to kind of return slightly, and then kind of start the process all over again. You can do breathing exercises as many times as you want. For some people, just one good deep breathing exercise is enough to reset them. For others, it may take a couple more. But definitely understand that as you're changing your breathing, you might get a little lightheaded, you might get a little dizzy as you're doing it. You might feel a little bit of that pressure in your chest. So always make sure that you're in a place where you can, kind of be calm and relaxed, or that you're at least supported, like sitting at your chair at your desk. Although, I'll be honest with you, I've done these plenty of times standing in the line at Walmart. So here is one of the breathing exercises within our card deck that is often done within yoga practices, known as nasal breathing. So as we look at this, and again, I invite you to go ahead and practice this as you go along. Begin in chair mountain. So that's just in sitting up nice and tall within your chair, a little bit more towards the edge of your seat. You can have your hands just comfortably rested in your lap. Imagine again that string coming down from the ceiling to the top of your head, so it gives you that nice good posture. Your shoulders just kind of rested and back. And as you're in your chair, just go ahead and observe your breathing. Don't make any changes to it or judgments. Just go ahead and breathe. Evaluate the temperature of your breath. So feel the coolness as you inhale and the warmth as you exhale. Evaluate how the active breathing moves the body. So you can put your hands on both sides of your rib cage and feel the ribs moving under your hands. Now go ahead and just close your mouth and inhale and exhale through your nose. Again, just do this at a normal pace. You don't have to do a deep breath as you're doing this. Just breathe. And just notice how you feel. And when you're ready, go ahead and just come back to normal breathing that feels good for you. And we're going to go ahead and try another breathing exercise. So I already mentioned square breathing. This is just as simple as it looks. You can go ahead as you're sitting again within chair mountain, as you're breathing in, just like we saw on our calm strip, just drawing a square as you're breathing. And you can do it in any direction that you want to. But as you draw the line one way, breathe in. Another way, hold. Exhale, hold, and complete the square. The next breathing exercise is sighing breath. And if you participated in any of the other meditations or the mudras that I also provide within this channel, you will hear me kind of talking about releasing the breath on a heavy sigh. Sighing is an action that signals the body to release tension. It can also be a good transition between practices. So again, just begin in chair mountain. Just notice how you're feeling right now. Just notice how your breath is moving. Are you breathing long breaths? Are they short? Is it something in between? Now let's go ahead and actively inhale through the nose and then passively sigh the breath out through the mouth. Let's go ahead and do that one more time. Breathe in through the nose and passively sigh through the mouth. You can add movement to this if you want to. So like as you inhale, you can bring your arms up to the sky and then sigh, letting your arms come back down. So So if you want to, let's go ahead and try that one. Again, in through the nose, arms up to the sky. And then release on a sigh, bringing your arms back down. And allowing your hands to rest in your lap. Let's do that 2 more times. In through the nose, arms up to the sky. And then exhale, allowing your arms to come back down to your lap. And one last time. In through the nose, arms up. And then release. Back down. Okay, we're going to do one more calming breathing practice known as the breathing well. So again, as you can see here within the picture, she's just in chair mountain and she has her arms just kind of nicely rest in front of her. Her hands are clasped together just very gently, just kind of right there within the fingertips. I'm going to look closer so that you can see. All right, so for this, again, begin in chair mountain. Place your hands in front of your heart with the fingertips and the thumbs touching. Take a breath in, and then while exhaling, press the palms towards one another with the fingertips still touching. While inhaling, press the palms away from each other while exhaling. So really kind of what it is you're going to go breathe in, breathe out. Okay. Practice this hand movement so that it becomes slow and meditated. So let's go ahead and try that. Okay, so take a deep breath in, the fingertips touching one another. Go ahead and breathe in. Press the palms together. Now breathe out and release them. And then try that on your own. Breathe in, palms together. Breathe out, release. Now normally you would want to go ahead and do this anywhere between 10 and 20 breaths, whatever you feel most comfortable with. But again, just as you're doing it, just do it nice and slowly at your own pace. It doesn't have to be a deep breath, but just allowing kind of that movement and just paying attention to the nice steady flow of your breathing.